Oh,
There we go.
good. Awesome.
Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Love. I have the amazing expert, River Del Llano, right? Llano?
River Deliano, River Roaring.
Yes, I have her with me today, and she's going to talk all about eroticism. Are you hearing the echo?
Nope.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm really excited to be with you. It's my pleasure.
Yay! So, do you want to give us an introduction of who you are, what you do in Austin, and kind of how you got started with it?
Well, I am an artist of human experience.
I
I
love
am a
that.
connoisseur, a creator, a curator, and a guide. And really, I love human experience. I love being in person with people. I love the magic that can happen either one on one or with two, three, four, or groups of people. I'm not used to being online, and I that's because I love being in person with people.
I love that.
After being a lawyer for over 20 years with my own practice as a trial attorney, I realized that it was really ridiculous to keep fighting. I was a divorce and custody attorney, so I was helping families transition by
Wow.
fighting. And it's wrong. When I first went into it, I didn't think there was any other way to divorce or transition a family, but now I realize it's the terrible, most awful thing you can do is to go into court and spend most of your savings arguing with each other over the
Mm.
kids and money. So I um, basically wound my way into a spiritual path, which was opening up at the exact same time as my sexual path. And I got a message from the divine after 5 years of following a spiritual path, after being an atheist most of my life. then the goddess told me, you're here to be a sexual healer, and that's what I've done
I
ever since.
love it. That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
So I coach. I'm a surrogate partner, which means I'm a substitute partner, and I do that professionally. I also coach people one on one in love, sex, and intimacy, and I also offer other workshops and in person gatherings.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, were you always comfortable with your sexuality?
I grew up in a house where it wasn't spoken about at all. Um,
Mm.
it just wasn't spoken about. And then I had sex for the first time when I was 14. And looking back on that, I think that was a bit young. But at the time, it seemed like what just the normal thing to do. And I would say that I was detached from it. I would say that I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. But I was just like, I don't understand what the big deal is really about this
Mhm.
totally. And so I think I had a pretty free sexual life up until when I really woke up. But it was free within the normal constrictions of our society. So I moved in with my boyfriend when I was 19 for the first time. And we had a lot of sex. And then we broke up. And a year later, I moved in with another guy. We had a lot of sex. That repeated itself again after a few years. But all of it was really surface level, really looking back on it, really boring sex. So I would have called myself sexually free and sexually liberated and like, yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
sex, it's pretty good. But actually, it was really boring. And so then when I woke up and found out how we could have our authentic sexuality, um, now all of my sex is really fucking exciting.
I love it. Yay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
big difference.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and River has this awesome workshop called Erotic Foundations, and I took it and it blew my mind. It was amazing.
Oh, do you want to say anything else about it? I haven't
Yeah,
heard. Yeah.
I just had so many light bulbs go off about sensuality, what it means, and the whole idea of letting your partner decide how they want to touch you and just receiving it is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have so much fun opening other people up to their authentic sexuality, you know?
Hmm.
So I don't really in everything I do, I don't really teach a specific technique. The technique I teach is how to find your own technique, you know,
Hmm.
how to find yourself because we each have a need. We don't have a need for any sexual activity. There's not a human need that we do a specific sex act, even though it may seem sometimes like, we feel really needy or anxious about having a specific sex act happen. It's really not a human need, but a human need is to express ourselves in our own individual way sexually. And
Hmm.
so that's what I like helping people find.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you help people consent or learn consent as well.
Yes, I'm so honored to teach the work of Dr. Betty Martin, which is the Wheel of Consent, um,
Hmm.
which is more popular really right now in Europe, but her book is going to come out this year, and I think more people will know about it. But it's a set of life skills. And so, really, we approach consent from the bedrock foundation of first being able to hear my own desire.
Hmm.
I have to know what I want. I have to really know what I really want in order to go into something fully consensually. And then also, I have to also know what I really don't want. And so, a lot of times, I hear consent taught in kind of an academic way or kind of like a communication style that is important, but it doesn't matter how well we communicate if we don't know what we want.
Hmm.
So the wheel of consent helps us tap into our body's desire because our body's desire is so much more interesting and important than our mental desire. Like, oh, I
Yes.
saw this on porn, so I think I want that. That's just your mind talking. But when we can find our body's true desire, which is going to be totally unique and different from everybody else, and then when we can say out loud that we want that, uh, and find someone who wants it too, wants to give it to us or indulge with us. That's where we enter true consensual interactions.
Hmm. I love it. It's really important. I'm so excited for the workshop as well.
I'm so glad you're going to come and take the full weekend.
Yes. Can't
It's a
wait.
deep dive. Yeah.
Hmm. So, what do you think are some of the biggest struggles people have right now with their sexuality?
Wow, that's such a great question, Hannah. I've really been looking at these core issues that we grow up with in our culture about sex and all the messages. I think all the messages we get are wrong. And it's just making me so sad lately. I've dealt with, for so many years, I've seen clients who are men who believe they have either erectile dysfunction, which I don't
Mm,
like the term, but that's what it's called by most people, and also premature ejaculation, which I don't like that term either, but that's a familiar term. And I'm watching the kind of false sense of priority that we're taught to put on the exact timing of the body movements. And it's
mhm.
really sad because we're not built to follow a script.
Yeah.
But our bodies aren't built to do the Masters and Johnsons like foreplay, oral sex, penetration, ejaculation, refractory period, rest, and it's over. That's a very patriarchal and very boring way to have sex. And it's really sad that so many people believe they're broken because they can't
Mm.
have sex in a way that we're actually not supposed to have sex that way anyway. So
Yeah.
that's really sad to me that so many people, men tend to define themselves as broken more because their parts are on the outside, so it's easier to kind of see if how they're functioning and stuff. But then women tend to also feel like either their men are broken because those things aren't doing the thing right, and sometimes to take it personally that also that must mean I'm broken too.
Yeah.
And then also women aren't as it's not as um it's it's rare really that a woman's body is going to respond to that outdated style.
Hmm.
And then women tend to call themselves broken. But it's like, but wait, your body wasn't supposed to respond to that really boring activity and done in that really boring way. So it kind of saddens me that we're all kind of trying to have really boring sex and then we're all calling ourselves broken because we can't have it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really tragic.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's the only reason, but we have a really high growing level of infertility, like really high. Right now,
Hmm.
I heard that 25% of all college males in America are infertile, and like one in
Wow.
four couples are infertile. And I've heard Elon Musk and Jack Ma, who are really Jack Ma's the head of Alibaba in China. They're pretty
Mm.
smart, and both of them said we're headed for a really big population collapse. People think there are too many people right now on the globe, but actually, it's about to be not that many people. And
Wow.
so I don't know. I just feel like healthy sexuality would be a really nice thing to do for our human evolution right now. And it would
Yeah.
involve us letting go of the old tired ideas about how we're supposed to have sex and how our bodies are supposed to function. Those are really outdated.
Yeah. What do you think about porn and its role?
Well, I love the concept of porn. I love the idea of filming erotic situations and enjoying how they look on film. I think that my theory is that the porn we have today is ridiculous. It's like mostly, it's just childish. It's just reiterating this out of date script that doesn't work for people. And so I think that in 30 or 40 years, if we're still alive, we're going to be laughing our ass off at
Hmm.
today's porn. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a huge joke. Like, oh my God, remember that porn from the 2020s that was so fucking stupid? Like, oh my God, that's such a dumb. But we have some porn that is a higher quality because it's more authentic. So
Hmm.
we have especially some feminist porn makers who are making erotica that's much more authentic, and that's really fun. I think porn is a great way to go into exploration and go online and start to see what you like and kind of look around. But beware that a lot of it is outdated and fake.
Yeah.
And so don't get worried if you don't like it because it's fake.
Awesome. I love that.
As you can see, I have opinions about everything.
That's good. It's helpful. What do you recommend for people who may be watching that have never explored their sexuality? Like, where should they start? Who should they be getting advice from?
Hmm, that's a great question.
Probably you.
Obviously, me. No, I don't, I think it's important that we each, all of us, beginning or middle or end, tune in with our body's innate desires, with what our body really wants. And your body or my body, it may right now really love the pleasure of breathing. It may notice, my body might notice, wow, I've been kind of uptight already today, and it's pleasurable to just stop and breathe into my belly. And it's pleasurable to touch certain things with my hands, and oh, when I touch this velvety pillow, it feels really nice to me. And when I go outside and the breeze blows through my skin, over my skin, I really love that. Start to notice where you take pleasure, even what colors give you pleasure, what tastes give you pleasure. Notice all the places you get pleasure. And I also really support dreaming. Daydreaming, night dreaming is awesome. It's a little harder to control, but and like be in charge of. But daydreaming is beautiful. So I really encourage people to daydream about sexuality in a way that comes off the menu of what we see in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, it seems sometimes like I talk to people who are like, well, every person I know who I'm eligible to date has already said no. Or something like, and so, and everywhere I go, everyone's either too old or too young, or they're not partners for me, they're not the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think, why are you looking at just what's in front of you?
Mm.
And that's kind of true for all of life. Why are you looking at what's in front of you as your menu of options? That's not how life really works. Life is much more magic.
Yeah,
And
so
so
agree with
tap
that.
into the magic part of life, which is to dream and fantasize about your sexuality and your desires way off the beaten menu. You could go into the clouds. You could be dreaming about purple dragons. You could be
Yeah,
dreaming about one of my clients dreamed the most beautiful universe I've ever heard of. It's her queendom. And everything's magic in there. And there are cloaked beings that are mysterious, and who knows what they have
I
under the
love
cloak.
it.
And there are magic fairies, and it's this kind of ultimate dreamlike fantasy and imaginative place. It's this kind of thing that it may seem silly, but it's not, because once we capture those magic things that we love, then we can look around in the current world and see where opportunities are for finding those magic pieces, and also creating more magic where there might be just a tiny spark, you know? And so it's up to us, it's up to me to keep my sexuality alive and exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so I'm kind of rambling, but I will say that I've been diving into my sexuality for a while, a while. Um, Technically 15 years, I guess, or 14. And and there was a point about a year ago where I thought, have I kind of done it all? Like everything that came in front of me as an option just was like, yeah, I mean, I could do it, but I've done it. And, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe sexuality is taking a big dip for me and this is part of life. But
Mm-hmm.
then I realized that's ridiculous, River. Um, that's ridiculous. You just need to, it's your responsibility. It's my
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to keep looking out there, keep dreaming, keep looking for new things. And I will say,
Yes.
I have found a lot of new things lately, and they're hot. And so I am having a blast. And
I
I'm
love it.
51, so I don't plan to stop on any number or any age. So I don't know how old anybody out there is listening, but probably younger than me. And so if you think, you're too old, or, it's too late for you, give me a break.
Hell
That's a
yes.
victim-y stance.
So they recently debuted a show on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it. It has like blind dates, and these people are in these pods. They can't see each other, and the
Hmm.
goal is to finish with a proposal. What do you think about people proposing to other people without ever having seen them, touched them?
Are you talking about a marriage proposal?
Yeah,
My gosh. I mean, I think that's crazy. I would never have anyone in my world who I have not touched. I mean, I'm an in-person person,
yeah.
right? So no way. Marriage itself, I mean, I don't know. What does that mean anymore? I know a lot of people I know one person in a temporary marriage. They got married for 3 years. Um,
Hmm.
I know people in open marriages. I know people who've been in marriages that were traditional and now are opening them. So, but I certainly wouldn't get into a lifetime relationship with someone I had not touched.
Do you think humans are meant to be polyamorous?
I love that question. In today's world, I feel that everyone's different and we should each follow what's right for us. I feel that it's okay. Whatever is right for us is okay. We should do that thing that feels great. Um,
For the
and
individual.
for each individual. So if you're an individual who is going to be more nourished by a monogamous relationship, do it. If that makes you feel safer and it makes you happier, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the same time, do I think we're evolving into something that's polyamorous as evolution? Yeah, definitely. I just don't understand. I'm not saying that this is right for everybody. I think what's right for you is right for you. That's great. For me, I don't understand the idea of looking someone in the eye and saying, you will never have sex with anyone but me the rest of your life. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I
Mm-hmm.
can't say it to anybody else. And if someone else told that to me, I would be kind of shocked. It wouldn't really make sense to me based on how we change as humans all the time. So,
Do you think it's healthy for people to be in marriages where they don't have sex?
again, I really feel like this is a world that is in a lot of turbulence, and this specific place we're in space time is pretty sensitive and fragile.
Mm-hmm.
And in this current world, whatever works for any person is what they should do. And I know that some people identify as asexual,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their right, and I feel like if that's what is nourishing, that's what you should do. So if you're in a marriage that has no sex in it, if that's what's nourishing to you, then I'm got no objection to that. I don't know anybody who's in one of those who finds it nourishing, but I'm not going to say, that there wouldn't be a person who would find that really nourishing. So, yeah.
What are some misconceptions people have about the work you do?
Oh, gosh. Wow. Like surrogate partner work. Um, it's about teaching people how to be in intimate relationships. And so I think a lot of people, I think that people who are uncomfortable with me as a sexual healer are probably uncomfortable with their own sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And so people who, like, for instance, I've had some people that feel like as a surrogate partner, I must get together with the person and we just start having penetrative sex, really quickly. And it always strikes me like, I wonder if that's how you operate in your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would you think that? Like an intimate relationship to me is so much more than that. And what I show people has to do with emotional connection, communication skills, socializing skills, the ways of getting to know new people, how to mostly feel inside your own body to
Mm-hmm.
know whether it's good and healthy for you to move forward or not in any relationship. And so all those skills, how to touch in these really specific different ways that can be learned with clothes on. Um, and once a person knows all the things I can teach them with clothes on, honestly, they really have the ability to get into a great intimate partnership. So I think one of the
Wow.
misconceptions is that sexual healing is just about like this old, boring, outdated script of sex equals penis and vagina penetrative sex, which it doesn't. Um, and I'm sad because when people feel that, I always wonder if that's how they experience sex,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So, what are your tips for couples that want to spice it up in the bedroom?
Oh God, there's so many ways to do that. You know what? I've got to say, first of all, check in if you're sharing your fantasies with one another. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for all those initial relationships I had where I lived with different people one at a time, standard traditional way. Um, I never shared my fantasies with any of those partners, not even one time. And so I'm a person who can live to tell that you can go decades, you can go, I went decades of my adult life without sharing my fantasies with anybody.
Wow.
Um, and that was really irresponsible of me. And it wasn't nice to my partner, but I didn't know better. So at least share your fantasies with each other
Mm,
and be able to hear each other's fantasies without feeling like it means the person is demanding you do that thing, or without feeling like it means that if they can't do that for you, you're done with them. Practice hearing each other's fantasies in a space of simple curiosity and fascination and intrigue. You're learning something new about the other person. It doesn't mean even they might not even ever want to do it. Some of my fantasies are impossible. It would not be possible to
can
do
you
that.
explain that a little more?
Well, I don't want to put
If
these
you don't have to.
on Facebook, but I mean, I'll be really honest. Like, I have a fantasy about human sacrifice.
Wow.
Like, and that's a really big one for me, and I'm never going to do it for obvious
Really?
reasons. I'm never going to do that.
I used
But
to
and then,
joke about that actually.
what is that?
When I was like 13, I would like lay on the science table, like dissect me. I was weird. I was a
And there's
crazy girl.
probably a weirdo who is really ready to do that with sexual arousal present. That's kind of hilarious. That's kind of the kink community. Yeah, but so, and also there are also my fantasies. I love to violate prohibitions. I love it. Like, my middle name is violating prohibitions. And you were in that workshop where we talked about it, right? And I love it. Like, it's hard to name a prohibition that I would not enjoy violating. And so some of those I'm never going to do in real life because I'd end up in prison or hurting someone.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to do that kind of thing. So fantasies are just imagination, and they let us know something about the other person, and they're fun and titillating. And even some of the fantasies I'll never live out, such as, like, say, human sacrifice, um, we can role play it. We can be like, "Oh, oh, you're getting me, you're killing me." Like, "Oh, that's so great."
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I know it's so silly, but role playing out stuff that you can't do for real and don't want to do for real is awesome. And then that's a unique form of sexual expression. Each one of us has some really bizarre things. I I've met a few people who've told me they've either never had a sexual fantasy, or they've only fantasized about something that is basically kind of standard, kind of like making out with someone they already know and something like that. I'm always wondering, is that all that's in there? Is that really? Maybe it is, but really, like, really, what if you just let go? What if you just let go and went out there into the crazy world? And I have talked to a few people who are like, "Oh, you mean I could include anything in the fantasy?" I'm like, "Yeah, include it. This is your fantasy. This is your world of imagination.
Yeah.
Let it be free. Cut it free. And then you can be more free in your real life to some level within that
Mm.
world." So when you sign up for my email newsletter, I send out a free dream guide, dream your love life, dream the love life of your dreams, or something like that. And because I think that's where everyone should start, is to really just go into your fantasy life and your imagination and dream, 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 dream. I
Mm.
dream all the time. That's what's guided my life, you know? And actually, my life is kind of like a dream now. And that's because I dreamed it. So get out
I
there
love
and dream, people.
it.
Like, if we don't dream it, I don't think I had any real role models. Like, there's no real person out there doing exactly what I do. So it had to be dreamt.
That's so cool. Awesome. So what does kink mean to you?
Great question. Really big question. For me, kink is non-normative sexual behavior. Um, Now, having said that, there is a kink community, and so there's a community of people who are kinky and who have quite a set way of doing things, which is really awesome. And and so inside that kink community, if you want to go fit in, there are certain ways of expressing that are more commonplace and more easy for everyone in the community to digest, and they've all seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's non-normative sexual behavior. I mean, if you go into the kink community, I would highly recommend looking around a lot so that you see what is going on there, and then deciding how you want to enter into that community. There are some things I would call kinky that some people in the kink community would say, like, I don't think that's too kinky,
Okay.
you know? But it frequently, usually has to do with a power exchange situation, for one thing,
Mm.
with one person handing power over to another person. Not always, but a lot of times. So, a lot of times it's based on power exchange, role play, and or fetish. It's really exciting. To me, it's like it's everything that's not boring sex.
Yeah.
But I am different,
You're colorful.
I guess. That's one word for it.
Awesome. Any other any misconceptions about kink?
Oh my God, yeah. Number one, I think a lot of people feel like kink is has all to do with you have to wear black leather and spikes and have the outfit. False, false. And
Mm-hmm.
then number two, I think a lot of people feel that kink is pain inflicting all the time, which it sometimes is, but that's false. It is not all the time. Doesn't have to have anything to do with pain.
Wow.
Um, and then I also feel that I think people uh, I think some people think that kink is a kind of an alternative sideline behavior, not so popular or commonplace. And I would question that. I would question that because, as you learned in the workshop, one of the most erotic things in the world is to get over an obstacle of some kind and to have some kind of tension, have
Yeah.
some kind of problem that we overcome, and kink is just a way of setting that up really intentionally. So I would be fascinated if it's impossible to do, but I'd be fascinated to have like all the people in the world, like, just kind of like, okay, you're not kinky, okay, kind of work with them on what they like and hear what they like, and at some point it's probably going to be like, that's kinky.
I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of people practice kink and they don't know it. Because I
Great.
was doing that in the past. I was like, I didn't realize what I was doing would be considered kinky. But like in retrospect, I'm like, oh yeah, I was doing that.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a common experience that a lot of people haven't explored yet.
Yeah.
I see you exploring it though.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's fun. I think everyone should.
I do too. Well, I think everyone should
If
find
they feel called to.
yeah, I think everyone should find their authentic expression, and everyone should know the kink communities out there as a resource,
Mm.
because it's a lot of people who a lot of them are going to be helpful and supportive in your authentic journey, right?
Yeah, they're super nice.
Yeah, it's a super awesome community. It's really
Yeah.
sweet.
And you're helping foster like a consensual group, right?
I organize the East Austin Kinksters, and we have a ball. And if anybody's interested in that group, you just have to go to FetLife to find that group, East Austin Kingsters. And we're going to be doing, are you going to do the book review with us?
Maybe I'll have to check it out.
I have to get that out there today, hopefully more online, but we're going to go through the Marketplace book series together. And the Marketplace is the most fabulous kink of all time written. I mean, you could argue with some that was written 100 years ago, maybe, but
Wow.
it is fantastic. And we get to have the author who's going to join us on some of the parts. And we're just going to discuss one book every 2 months. So it's going to be a year-long process, but it's fascinating book series. So if you can join us in person. If you can't, we're going to be going through the discussions online also. So I want to get the word out to anyone who might be interested, because you can also be in the discussions online. So it's going to
Awesome.
be fun.
Anything else you want to pitch or ping about?
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to take a second to talk about erections.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Is that
for sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like one of the most important um, things for us to see that in our culture, I feel like we have not seen yet, is the way our culture defines and deals with the male bodied erection.
Mm-hmm.
And I specifically talk a lot lately about boner shame, because I feel that it's been a joke. When I grew up, I didn't have any tragic interactions or traumatic interactions with erections, with men's erections, either, one way or the other. Um, but I did learn to joke about boners, just common thing. Like, it was just kind of just common knowledge. Like, if there's a boner, make a joke about it. And now I see how shaming that has been, and how wrong that has been, and how
Mm-hmm.
hurtful that is. And so I feel that it's not a coincidence that little boys are taught from the very beginning, as soon as they can understand socializing, they're taught to not let their erection show in public and to keep it down. Basically, like, they're going to be in public, boys and men. They're going to be in public. They can't have an erection in public. So that means you have to keep it down, or somehow not showing and repress it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to also do that at home if other people are in the home, like family, right? But only when you get in the bedroom, then the man can have it. But they're supposed to have it strong then. It's supposed to be like, as soon as you get into the bedroom, the man's supposed to have a really strong erection. It's supposed to supposedly not go down
Yeah, it's
until
like go.
he's done. Yeah, it's supposed to be like on command, straight, very erect until everything is over and they're ready for it to go down. And then it's supposed to not show again, for like 99% of their lives. And I think that's really effed up. And until we deal with that as a society, we're going to have serious problems.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anyone else talking about that. So what I'd really like to offer is that if you're a person who has an erection that would show in public, start to notice and become aware what happens in your body. If you feel an erection coming on, you may already have a built-in shame response or some other kind of negative talk that, like, it shouldn't be happening.
Mm-hmm.
And lighten up on that, and be more friendly with your natural body movements, and let them be, and befriend them. And if you're a person who doesn't have an erection that would show, or if you are a person who just sees someone who's having an erection that's showing, watch yourself there too. Don't shame them. Like, there's really no need to joke about it or get mad about it. There's nothing you're supposed to do about it. I've heard more than one woman say that, well, they kind of had some experiences early in life that made it so that they feel that if they see an erection, then they feel like it's on them to do something about that. And that's not what it is. That's not true meaning.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're having an erection, start to ease up and be friendly with your natural, healthy body movement. And if you see one, befriend the natural body movement and know that it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even mean sexual arousal necessarily. Erections happen for all kinds of other reasons. So we've got to come into a more accepting relationship with the natural body movements in order for us to go into the bedroom and have more natural flowing body movements.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we're going to be able to go fix our sexuality in the bedroom without fixing all the things we do outside the bedroom that have to do with our body. And I
Yeah.
feel like men, by repressing their erections, we're also accidentally repressing their thoughts and emotions because our body is not separate from our
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and our emotions. And so all these criticisms we have of men generally, of like, oh, you're not creative in bed, or you're not emotional. I feel really bad about that now. I feel like, well, they're not emotional because we told them to repress it.
Yeah.
Like, we made them do that, so of course they're not. They haven't been able to be. So I appreciate you giving me a few minutes on that one, Hannah.
Oh, of course.
That one's
That's,
really important to me. I feel like we've got
yeah.
to learn to be natural and healthy and accepting around erections.
Yeah.
And on another time, when we have more time, I'll talk about female erections, which are also really exciting and
Yay.
fun.
I love it.
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, do you want to talk about your workshops coming up?
Well, I will say, well, what I'd like to say is that if I would really love it if anyone listening is interested in anything I'm saying, please go to my website. It's uncagelove.com.
And we'll put the
You
links.
Yeah, great. You put the link in there. So uncagelove.com, and in there is the Full Moon Howl monthly email newsletter, and
So
that's
good.
the key to everything. It
Do
has
it.
it has a worldwide sex events calendar, and Austin specific too, but it is packed with information. So you really want to be on the Full Moon Howl, and then you'll know everything that's going on all around you.
Yay. I love it. Thanks
Thanks.
so much for your time. I always love talking to you. You have so much
I
insight.
feel blessed. I feel really blessed. Thank you for the
Oh, yay.
opportunity.
Of course. Well, I'll let you go. That's all I have. I will link your website. And everyone, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. I hope to see you soon in person.
Yes. Bye.